Hey everyone, I'm headed to work right now for a 4-hour shift and basically now back to being a cashier primarily, I hope. As I said on my Facebook, finally cashiering, I hope, and no more, done with cards, something like that, I hope. So, but yeah, I'm heading off to work. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. But I don't know if anybody would even kind of understand it. But maybe they will. You see, I've always wondered, is it so wrong to cheer for more than one team? I mean, honestly. Is it so wrong? Huh? Is it so wrong to do that? Especially if you have both teams in almost the same vicinity, the same region. I don't think so. I don't think so. And here's why. See, when I lived in the Midwest in Kansas, basically, I was taught by my dad and friends, some family members, and my friends, that as long as you live in a close region, that you could cheer for the teams that are there. And we're not just talking college and all that, because believe me, where I lived, you could be both a KU and a K-State fan. Yeah. I know some people might say that's not true, but it is. You could cheer for KU and you could cheer for Kansas State. That is, unless of course you attended both. That's unless you attended one of the colleges. Well, again, that's unless you attended one of the other colleges. Then, of course, you can only cheer for that college that you attended. I mean, if you attended Kansas, you had to attend for KU. I mean, you had to cheer for KU. If you attended K-State, you had to cheer for them. Just saying. But it doesn't mean you couldn't secretly probably cheer for the rival when they were playing somebody else, especially if that somebody else was in your way of advancing into, like, say, a tournament or a bowl game or a playoff. The point is this. I learned that you could cheer for anybody. Now, as far as baseball went, we had one team very close to us and another team about 100, 200 miles away. But it still was close enough to where if me and my dad or me and some friends wanted to, we could have drove all the way to there. And of course, I'm talking Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals. And the reason I say that is because I remember, I think it was 2007 or 2006, I gotta look at the records again, when St. Louis won the World Series in the mid-2000s, I think it was 06, 07, before I even left to come back here. I remember walking by in Uno, Chicago, because we did have one right next to me, in Uno, Chicago, and I saw people just cheering and being happy and everything that St. Louis had won, and I think I was working that day or something, I don't know. I was just walking back, I think. I may have been working, or I may have just been at Hastings doing something, I don't know. No, I think I was working, I can't remember. Or was it 2000? I can't really remember the year, I gotta look it up online and maybe I'll have a better idea. But the point is, I remember everybody was for St. Louis. And why? Because they were close to our region. They were close to our region. We were basically close. They were basically the closest thing we had because, of course, at the time, Kansas City wasn't doing so well. So they were the closest thing we had to a team. And from what I saw over there in Kansas anyway, even during the regular season, you had St. Louis fans. you were allowed basically to cheer for either Kansas City or St. Louis. And it made it even more fun when they did the High 70 series. You know? When they did the High 70 series, it was even more fun because basically, you got to cheer for both. It was like a win-win for you. If you were for St. Louis, it was a win-win for you. If you were if you were for both teams, it was a win-win. If Kansas City won one game and then St. Louis won the other, it was a win-win for you. Because basically you got to cheer for two good teams. The same with KU and Kansas State. If you were just a fan watching on television or attending the game live, either it was in Lawrence or Manhattan, you got to cheer for both teams, and it was a win-win for you. It was a win-win for you no matter what. So, again, I ask, is it so wrong? To cheer for different teams that are in the same region? I don't. Because you see, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with cheering for both the A's and the Giants when it comes to baseball. I don't. I don't find anything wrong with cheering for the Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings when it comes to basketball. I don't see anything wrong with cheering Stanford and Cal when it comes to any of their sports. I don't find anything wrong with it. And most importantly, as far as football goes, I don't find anything wrong with cheering for the Niners and cheering for the Raiders if you feel like it. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it, and I'll tell you why. I don't see anything wrong. Because if they're both in the same region, there should not be anything wrong. I understand rivalries and histories and personal vendettas and personal grudges. I get that. But you got to get over that. You got to get over that personal vendetta. You got to get over that personal grudge and say, you know what? They're now home. Or then, once again, one of our teams. Let's cheer for them. Let's back them up. When the Raiders originally left Oakland for Los Angeles, yeah, a lot of fans were pissed, but they still supported them in a way. But even though slowly they were becoming more 49ers than they were Raiders. And when the Raiders came back, they went back to being Raiders because it was basically like, hey, they're home. I can let go of this personal grudge. I can let go of this personal vendetta. So, to me, I see nothing wrong with cheering for the same teams, for teams that are in the same region, if you know what I mean, or the same vicinity. I see nothing wrong. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm heading off to work to cashier now, hopefully. And that's about it. God bless. Take care. Peace out. And I'm done. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think there's anything wrong? Because I don't.